What is up, everybody? As I said, or promised, just said, I made a follow-up video to Monster Hunter, mostly like the hate, in anticipation for tomorrow, the big, big day, the day that all the Nintendo fans, especially Sungrad, have been dreading. That's right. Lagiacrus, Seregios, oh man, two Nintendo monsters for the price of one, and then Arch-Tempered Uthuna with their new skills, new armor, weapons, everything. Oh, and layered weapons. So I guess if you get those like really good Ardean grinds, it's not so bad, you know? We're living in the best of times, right? I couldn't beat Fatalis, but like I joined this like game with a defense boost 7 set against Fatalis. So because it's like if the host isn't gonna like take it seriously, why should I, right? Just have a good time. And that's what Monster Hunter is all about. But some people they're just not having a good time because they just want more and more and more, like more difficulty. They want more content. I could agree with the content. Like I wouldn't mind so much actually if they're more paid for DLC cosmetics because the ones that they have, like samurai armor it's okay, right? But it's like it's a little expensive for what they're asking for. And then like the other one is just it's an acquired taste and I don't have it. And like I like the various decorations. I picked up the fairy decoration. The other ones, the teddy bear ones, they're just not for me. There's like a sakura one, sakura flowers. There's the new dragon mount decoration. I got that. The other two, they're okay. There's like a shadow mount with like horns. Makes your sacred look dark, and then the unicorn one, make it look like a Saiya mount. If you're like kind of superhero, kind of cool. But like I'm actually kind of looking forward to the cosmetics in the new DLC, like new title update. Sorry, not new DLC. It feels like a DLC because we're getting so much, and that's why I think where all this hate came from. Like, I think, in all honesty, the hate for this new, especially since it's recent, it's been coming up recently. It's in anticipation for the title update. Like, I honestly thought that Nintendo was holding off on their console. They're making their console more expensive in the States side or like all around the world because it's like a powerful system, but at the same time it's capable of running like games like Monster Hunter Wilds or whatever the like. And it's unfortunate because I commented on how I got all these fans for my console, like one in the back, one on the top, one on the side, and then on the bottom to like dump all the heat. And it's working magic. Like I can feel like the wind blowing in my room, and it feels like it's heating up like almost immediately. It's insane. I love it. Like if I had to choose between playing these games and then like eventually just like burning my system out, like I just play it like a lot less. But now that I suggest anybody who like is serious about these consoles and stuff, because to my knowledge you require quite a powerful computer to play Wilds, and even still like people are having like a lot of problems. Like um my good friend Amatsu Ryu, on various occasions would have the game crash on him. See, this is the benefits of Defense 7. Check it out. I'm face planting Fatalis and giving him a hug. We still lost this round anyway, so it's all good. But yeah, it will crash on him, and he has a pretty powerful rig himself. Like, I even asked him. He has an M2, the same type of hard drive in these next gen consoles. It's powerful stuff. I'm going to like do videos like detailing not only like all the add-ons I added on to put on my PS5, but like also I think like my biggest issue with it so far is like I chose to use it not just as like a gaming, console, whatever, but also like to upload movies and stuff. It gives me something to do while like things render in Blender. I like how that rhymes, and it's like a cool way to like synchronize time. You know, like you have this in rest mode doing its thing, and you just like I just like to talk about Monster Hunter. You know, on the side. And you're gonna see this gameplay footage of me getting like absolutely destroyed by this Atsune. So like here's one of me like doing so well. Like look at how well I'm doing. Oh my goodness. And then the other one is just like absolute destruction. I should use Gunlance to be fair, but like I don't know. I gotta update my builds and stuff. Especially in anticipation for tomorrow. So here's my theory as to why Monster Hunter has been getting like a lot of bad Steam score reviews and stuff. And I don't think it's just the update, it's also like the success of the game versus like the failures, right? Like, say what you want about all the collabs, right? Like, let's take The Witcher, I guess to a lesser extent, Cyberbots, which is a funny like off reference. It was just like basically a decoration, but I found that to be funny. 'Cause it's like a Capcom fighting game from like back in the day, like almost unrecognizable. What else? Well, obviously Street Fighter, Mega Man. Like those collabs were like meh, and then we had this like Street Fighter 6 collab, pure brilliance. And you want to know why? It's because it's like for once we finally have a collab that like actually adds something to the game, and I'm gonna make some builds like I don't know, like a Shin Akuma build where he just like does the Raging Demon over and over again, and like a weapon that like will be easy to like wound the monster. Interesting stuff, right? And I can see why like people, especially like on the PC, like if you can't enjoy this game like stably, like you're not going to enjoy this game. And the reason why I pointed out that I got all these fans and stuff is like not only does this game make your console run hot like your PS5, Xbox Series X, I honestly don't know how the Pro it would handle this. So in comparison to like the regular base, but I heard and seen like the graphical upgrade, like they have like better ray trace reflections on the water and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Like so like the Sony PlayStation 5 is a really powerful console. The only problem with it is because you're running an M2, the heat on the hard drive, oh sorry, the SSD, it's not hard drive. Um, yeah, it causes the issues, so it requires like a bunch of fans just blowing on it, dumping the heat, just what it's doing right now. And yeah, even when I'm like recording, you know, rendering, whatever, right? On this console, like it does it in either it could go up to 4K, and I don't want to upload that to YouTube because it's like who the fuck is gonna watch that in 4K? Like yeah, the clarity will be like amazing and stuff, but like I don't even have that big of a YouTube channel anyway, so like I'm just gonna keep uploading it in 1080p, 60 frames a second. That's insane, Um, but like the hate that Monster Hunter has been getting has mostly been because of like I think the lack of access that the PC crowd and the Nintendo people who feel like shafted. Because the way I feel about it is like back when Sunbreak was announced, right? And I don't know if he was yeah, I think he was in the base game. I think he was in the base game. So they were announcing all the monsters for Rise. I mean Sunbreak, all the new monsters and stuff. And one of the monsters that they announced was Espinaus, and I was like, "Oh, cool, who's that?" And then for some reason, there's like a group of people, but they're like very small. But like that's the crowd, the minority, the vocal minority of Monster Hunter Frontier who didn't want their monster in like the mainline franchise. They just wanted it to themselves. It's like, hey, we paid money for this. We paid for the subscription. Like we should be treated, more special than like the rest. It was just like one monster too, and then I just wrote it off as just like, haha, that's kind of funny. But then I gave it some thought, and I'm like, yeah, that would kind of suck if you paid all this money, and then like people on Nintendo get to play with your franchise this monster and stuff. So I can understand that where the hate comes from. But then like I see like some of these screenshots on PC and the graphics look absolutely garbage, which is why like I mostly have avoided showing footage of Monster Hunter Wilds myself because it's like I don't want to make them feel jealous. You know what I mean? Like when you look at this, and by the way, I fixed the contrast and stuff, so it's like it looks less washed out. I don't know if I want to actually change it back because there's something about like the way the sun looks, the way the lighting looks on the other settings, but this it looks so far so good, right? I'm looking at it right now in the video thing in Share Factory. It looks okay, but I can like it died. But like I think tomorrow will be like a shifting point, not just for Wilds, but like for the gaming community at large, because the amount of shit talking and like hate that Monster Hunter has been getting, at least all the way up until this title release, has been like insurmountable. And they're so they keep coming out of nowhere, just like Monster Hunter's dead. Monster Hunter has no content. Monster Hunter's too easy. Monster Hunter's too that. Dude, I just played this game maybe because I haven't like picked it up and played it in like so long or whatever, and I just got annihilated by Misutsuni. But mind you, it was like 8 star. So I mean 5 star. Burp. Excuse me. See, look at these graphics. Look fucking amazing. Like I get that like the textures on the PC side don't load in or whatever, but like your hate for the game is based on like this, like idea that it has to be a certain way at like high rank. I keep saying low rank, high rank, right? Like let's just call it what it is. This is the starter, the beginners, because we have to be fair. This is a game that is meant for mass consumption. Like if Monster Hunter was always going to keep its in crowd of like really hardcore dedicated fans, like it's never going to garner the success that it has. Like they say that Monster Hunter World is one of the highest selling games, right? And when you look at World, especially like I had to get the comparison with like Rise slash Sunbreak to show you how like profoundly different. Like it is a very, how should I put this? It's like Monster Hunter, but like trainer friendly. It's a very easygoing Monster Hunter. Like you have, at least in Master Rank, you have the ability to put health augment, which is uh, like not a decoration, like an unlockable that you use with like materials that you gather to create like the ability to absorb like health every time you attack. And I have this for pretty much every weapon in the game in World. And I tried to do that in Rise and Sunbreak subsequently. And there is it's kind of like that. They have the super recovery health thing from Valhazak, and then in that game it comes from Kushala Deora, and now in this game it comes from Zoshia. But they don't have health augment, which is hasten recovery, which this game does have, right? Where you attack the monster with like Arcfeld's armor set, and then you get the health regen. And I don't think that's a spoiler because at this point we all fought that monster thousands of times. Like it was the only monster that people fought, at least up until like the release of Misutsune, and like now we have like higher star variants of monsters. And like even though I would be incentivized to fight them, like the thing is I just want to like wait until I get like the new armor because I just want more power. I want that power. Like can you imagine what Seregios can introduce, let alone Lagiacrus? Like everybody's actually saying, like I watched the Raging Gaming video and a bunch, and they're all saying that like Lagiacrus doesn't actually really have like anything special with his armor set. Like it's just like it has really good skills on it, and it just looks cool, and it's like memorable. So that's interesting. But Sergio's always has the ability to regain sharpness, which is what I like. You know, you see me rocking that. At least in the beginning of this match against Mizutsune, I was rocking the big like Arkveld hunting horn with the regain sharpness song, which I think is the best song. Especially if you're fighting with a party, you can just like put the throw the beat down on them, and they're just like, oh my god, I'm just getting like absolutely destroyed, and no one's running out of sharpness. But I like it for myself personally because yeah, you could honestly argue that in this game, having speed sharpen is easier because it's just 2 skills instead of 3. But then you're putting it on a weapon that only has like a maximum of like 3, maybe 6 to 9. Like okay, if you actually mathematically calculate it out, it's about like yeah 12 spaces. But you have to get if we're talking about Ardians, right, that have three slots, and then you have to get a 3 slot with like 1 skill, and then all those 3 slots have to have that same skill. So like let's say, yeah, two like one with like dragon, and then one with like critical element for the dragon, and then on like as an add-on skill they have like speed sharpen or something like that. I actually haven't encountered that yet, speed sharpen, but like like, usually you'll get like what is it, power prolonger, and you get like a single dragon attack or something like that. It's interesting. So, and they also said that like they're gonna rework all the weapons, like every single one, which is great because I am sick and tired of watching longsword playthroughs, and they're doing that thing. Like you see in my playthrough, like, and it's not the most effective. That's the reason why I lost probably. But like, the most effective way to use a longsword is to do that attack, the same 3-hit combo over and over again. So it's just, I think it's like slash, circle, and then like spirit slash, and then you do the slash again, and then like just do the combo over and over. And they're changing it to like it's so that like spirit slash whatever yes, crimson slash 1 doesn't do that much damage anymore. Because it's like it's crimson slash because you do it at a red gauge. But yeah, I'm probably gonna be like maining either bow and insect glaive because I got a new controller because I'm sick and tired of pressing L3 and R3 on the joysticks all the time. So I'm going to be either maining bow and insect glaive. I want to get into insect glaive actually, but I'm a little rusty. Plus, it's kind of weird how they switched the controls for it. I don't know why they did that. It always like throws me off where I'm like, I'm gonna do the vaulting attack, and then I just do the other one, and I just like fall to the ground and then get hit. But if anything, like I might check out um what's a good weapon to use with bow, because bow's very very specific, right? Like bow is constitution, right? And if you're using a weapon that uses constitution, most likely you'll get the most of the mileage out of it with like insect glaive, because you use stamina to like bolt and stuff and move around, and that'll be pretty useful. And it also shares the benefit of like stamina surge. Whereas like marathon runner, I find it only really works with either hammer or lance because of the marathon runner, aforementioned marathon runner skill. But like if anything, I would. I'm actually thinking about doing this like a build wise. I'm thinking about getting into the whole damage meta aspect, and I was talking to Amatsu about this. So my build idea would be a weapon that has whatever elements, right? Now, I suggest anybody who hasn't, looked into like the more in-depth aspects of Monster Hunter Wilds to check out and watch videos. I can't ask you to subscribe. That's kind of lame, but like if you want to, like, cause I have, like, I'm subscribed to this guy called Dreaming Suntide, right? And he said that unfortunately, Convert Element, the skill that gives you basically more dragon attack and then those dragon like bursts, like blast damage, but it isn't based off of dragon damage that you afflict upon the monster or any elemental damage whatsoever. It's a misnomer, and I don't know if they're going to change it in the next patch. But so basically, have convert element whichever level one, two, three, and then like the other weapon would be either blast or poison. So whichever the monster is weaker to, because obviously, like blast doesn't work universally as well as it does on every monster. But poison is a really good like affliction in this game because I heard they're gonna tone down paralysis, and I have nothing against paralysis. Like if you like paralysis and paralysis is pretty meta, that's cool. But I think damage wise, yeah, I guess a paralysis would do more for a CC, but since poison can be like built up, even though it's been afflicted, like maybe not now, but like maybe in master rank, like poison would like come out to be a more potentially dangerous, status effect. So, so like yeah, as you can see, I'm not to the triple Crimson Slash combo that you see like 90% of the longsword users do. But I'm not actually as good as 90% of the longsword users. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm so happy, man. Like, we are finally gonna get, after all this time, the Monster Hunter update that will change not only Wilds, but probably the series and franchise. And let me explain why. Uh, the hate that it's getting has to be for more than just one reason. You know what I mean? Like, it just can't be jealousy. It must be like they can feel the success. Because if you really think about it, this isn't G rank, right? And inevitably, when they reintroduce Lagiacrus and Seregios and like all the other monsters in Master Rank, like they're gonna have to give them more attacks, different armor sets, and like like things that will ultimately like change the way they've been interpreted in the series so far. So from Lagiacrus being like a fan favorite, but like a monster strictly kept in like the third series, fourth coming back as like just its land-based iteration. Like I actually like the way that they've implemented the way that you have to go underwater and lure him out, even though some people might find that being pretentious. Because I find that if a monster that big is like underwater, there isn't that much of an incentive for it to come out, right? So it makes sense for you to go in and then capture it versus it. You know, uh, what else? And Seregios, like I hate personally as a dual blade user having to sharpen my dual blades all the time. Hopefully that will like fix some of that problems because if they introduce it like the same way they did in Rise, sorry, introduce implement it the same way they did in Rise, where basically you only get the buff through a perfect dodge. Like I'm okay with that, but I'm not that good at dodging. But I guess that means running evade window would be more meta than normally. But you know what? If you come this far, listen this long, I'm glad because I gotta go to the bathroom. And also, yeah, the update's coming out soon. I'm going to download it, wait for tonight, and it's gonna be a great time, man. I hope to see you there, and happy hunting. Oh, and don't forget, don't listen to Sungrad.